Good morning. It's Sunday morning. I am coming to you from the Parental Palace in Lakeland. We are here to celebrate my dad's 88th birthday today and then watch the Super Bowl, which I don't know that we've ever done that as a family all together, but we're all here, most of us anyway. And so we're gonna watch the Super Bowl a little bit later after we celebrate the birthday. But my dad got a call this morning from his Sunday school class director, and the teacher was gonna be out sick, and he wanted to know if Dad could teach. So happy birthday, Dad! You get to teach Sunday school today, which he's happy to do, and I'm sure did a great job. So it's been a good trip. I got a little adventurous for me and took a different route coming down here. Instead of getting on 75, which is the craziest interstate in the world, I took some back roads, and it was a beautiful little trip, and I think I'm going to go back home that way because it was just farm country and little towns with cute little shops that I wish I could stop in, and so maybe one day I'll have time to do that. But it was a nice little trip down, and I'll be going back tomorrow to get ready to go back to work. But we're having a good weekend, just visiting and celebrating Dad this weekend. So I stopped at a gas station yesterday when I was coming down to, actually I stopped several times because that's just what you do when you're 60 and you're driving a lot. So, but one time I stopped just to get some water and a little snack, and obviously bathroom break. I got back in the car and I was getting my stuff all settled and getting my seatbelt on, getting ready to hit the road again. And there was a man standing over a large trash barrel in front of me with a handful of lottery tickets, scratching off and then just chunking them, just scratching off and just chunking. And it kind of struck me. I thought, you know what? And I don't want to make too big an analogy of this, but it just kind of made me think about the gifts that God puts in our hands. Not lottery tickets, not maybe we'll win, maybe we'll be okay, but all of the faithfulness and the gratefulness and the graciousness of God and the gifts that He hands us and the blessings every single day. And how sometimes if we're not in the right frame of mind, we can take those things and do the equivalent of standing over a trash barrel and just looking at them and being disgusted and chunking them away. Like, this isn't any good. This isn't any good. This doesn't do any good. This isn't what I was expecting. I wanted more. I thought, sometimes we need to just take more time to sit with God. And I know everybody's busy. We're tired. I get that. I have the same excuses all the time. But sometimes you got to make time for the things that are important. It is windy. I'm sitting on my mom and dad's little sunroom, and I'm getting distracted because it's so windy. Stuff's blowing around everywhere. So anyway, I was just thinking, how often do we just sit with God and thank Him specifically for the things that we're able to do that can help somebody else or support or encourage somebody else? Sometimes people will say, thank you for doing this. That made a big difference. Or, I appreciate you saying that. That really encouraged me. And we kind of blow that off because we think, well, it's not a big deal, We tend to minimize our own gifts sometimes because we look around at what other people are doing and we think, well, I'm not doing that, so I can't be doing anything good. It's the whole comparison thing. But it's also a gratitude thing. And when we stop and think about what God has given us and the day He's given us today, it's a beautiful day here. I have family gathered. We're celebrating, we're having fun, we're watching a great grandson learn to crawl, and beautiful things like that. We're anticipating my niece getting married in a couple of weeks, and just lots of good things happening. It's just a day, but it's a day full of blessing, and it's a day full of a lot of love and a lot of memories, good memories. We almost never get together that we don't reminisce about something, and laugh about something that happened in the past. And I love that we can do that. And one of the biggest blessings for us is that we really do like each other. We love each other, but we like each other too. And I see plenty of families where that's not true. And so, when family sometimes starts to feel like a little too much, so, and it can for all of us sometimes, those are the things to remember. It's like, thank goodness we can be a little too much with each other, and we can still love each other and laugh together and like each other and pray together and pray for each other. So many blessings we have every day. And that little man standing over that trash barrel yesterday just made me think about how much I need to stop and take stock sometimes and just be specifically grateful for all those things that God has given me and my family. I want to read a little bit of scripture from 1 Peter that I really like this morning. This is 1 Peter 4, 7 through something, wherever I stop here. The end of all things is near. Therefore, be clear-minded and self-controlled so that you can pray. Above all, love each other deeply because love covers a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Ooh, that's hard sometimes. Here's a good one. Verse 10. Each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. It's so easy, isn't it, to think there's nothing special about me, nothing special about my gift. I'm never going to be famous or, write a book or start a company or a ministry or I'll never do anything big like that. I'm just me. But sometimes we need to remember that what's special about the gift God has given us may not be that it's different from somebody else or whatever, or the same. It may be that that gift is what is needed, the exact thing that is needed by the people God puts around us. Every one of us, we all have overlapping friends circles and work circles and that kind of thing, but we all each have a unique group of people that we touch every day or all the time. And nobody else has that same exact circle of friends or acquaintances or God appointments. What seems to be coincidence sometimes. It's not. Everybody has a unique group of people they will touch. And those gifts that God has given us may seem like nothing, but when you think about, they're like the loaves and fishes that the little boy had. It was just lunch. It was just lunch. And look what God did with it. He'll do the same thing with us every day. And we may never know it. I think that's where our trust and faith comes in. Sometimes God will let us know. And I think sometimes he lets us see the result of what we do. And sometimes I think he just wants us to trust that he's going to take it and use it in a good way and do great things with it. And we don't have to know, but we just know who's doing it. And that should be enough for us. So that verse, read those verses again. 1 Peter 4, 7 through 10. That's where I stopped. But especially verse 10. Each one of us should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. It's not all just one thing. It's uniquely suited to us because God has uniquely placed us where we are to serve him where we are. So just thank him. Just trust him enough to know that even when we don't feel it and we don't exactly see it, we know God's using us and using the gifts that he's given us. And be grateful. That's how we live in grace. That's how we can really start to understand the bigness of God's grace in the world and in our lives. And just let yourselves relax into that. I think we need to learn to do that. To just say, you know what? I don't have to work so hard. I don't have to kill myself to try to be who God wants me to be. I just need to be available every day. I need to sit with him every day so I can hear his voice throughout the day. And know that if somebody comes across my path at work or in the grocery store or at the gas station or wherever, that it's not a random thing. And it may be just somebody that you say hello to. You just acknowledge them and say hello to and smile at them. That may be your gift of grace to them that day, and it's huge. Because I guarantee you there are people that go days and weeks without anybody smiling or acknowledging them. And it's not a small thing. So let's be careful that we don't reduce the acts of grace of God to small things, because they're not. We have a big God. He does big things, but he does them not always in a big firework kind of way. Sometimes it's quiet and behind the scenes, but it's always big and it always matters. And so do you. So do I. So I want you to walk in that grace this week. Be intentional about how you think about your day and the things that you have to do during the day. They may seem like mundane, everyday tasks, but they're important. They're important. So, I hope Sunday is good for you today. I hope you've had a great day in church if you were able to go. And if not, you don't have to be in church to worship. You know that. But just take a few minutes if you can and sit with God. Thank him. And just ask him to help you be sensitive to his calling and his direction as you go through your day. If you're spending it with family, God's going to direct you. If there's something that needs to be said or something that you need to notice or see, just ask him to help you be sensitive to that. And he will. He's faithful to do that. He loves you a lot, and I do too. And I'm very thankful that you're here and watching this, and that it means a lot to me. So have a great day. I hope your Super Bowl team wins if you care about that. If not, I just hope you have some great stuff to eat and maybe some great time with family today. Or if you're by yourself, just some rest time before the week winds up again. So I'll see you next week. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for being here. Take care. Splash in the grace. That's the thing. Splash in the grace. It's all over the place.